Okay, so we're on the Samach Tesam with base. Is that true? Yes. No, okay. I know, really up to Dafayan, but just to review a little bit about yesterday, the Gemara had an issue about Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says that a person cannot be makta something that's not under his jurisdiction. There's a beso, shalom, beshuso. So if somebody stole, Reuben stole from Shimon, so neither one can be makdish. Reuben cannot because it doesn't belong to him because he's the ganav, it's not his. And Shimon, who's the owner, he cannot be makdish because not beshuso. That was a Yochanan. The more the kasha from Snu, there's a case that somebody wants to be a big tzaddik, that people are stealing from him. His grapes is from his vineyard, and he wants to save them from the revoy, that they should, in case it's the fourth year fruit, so he should redeem it. And it comes out over there that he redeems it from in the evening. In the evening, and that means that it's already been stolen. Means the morning and evening, means morning before it's stolen and evening after it's stolen. Every day people pass by his vineyard and they take some grapes, and they're not supposed to, they're stealing. So he wants to save them from eating that revoy. So he puts a sign, whatever he puts he puts over there plums of birth. But he wants to be extra tzaddik, that they, even if they eat it, it should be redeemed. So no. So over there it says that choices are to redeem it in the morning before they steal, or in the at evening after they stole. So before they steal, the problem is it belongs to him. Then it's in the Rishuso. But it's going to be with Brera. You have a problem with Brera over there that you're going to be deciding later on what I'm redeeming. I'm redeeming the ones that are going to be stolen. So at that point, it's not yet. So that's a question of Brera. In the evening, on the other hand, it's not a question of Brera. It's already stolen, but now it's not Rishuso. And if you knows that you cannot, you have no jurisdiction. Something is not, you have no way to be makneh, to be mafkirid, to be maktishit, things that are not under your jurisdiction. So that was the Gemara's kasha that Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yehuda, the more tried to get out of it, then it didn't work because Rabbi Yochanan also holds in Brera. So how does Rabbi Yochanan gonna reconcile himself with these mishnayos? Rabbi Yochanan, there's a mishnah that says by the that you can be makneh the davar shnei b'shusa. That's what comes out of it. Rabbi Dosa also talked about a similar case, which was about poor people that are taking the gleanings from your field, which they're allowed to, but they're ignorant. They don't know. They're only allowed to take 2 sheaves that fall, 2 stalks that fall, but if 3, then they're not allowed to, and they don't know that, and they're going to end up stealing, and not only steal, you have to be mafkir. It's also the fact that it should not be chayv and ma'aser. And the case is the same thing over there. When are you going to do it? In the morning, in the evening? There's going to be a question about the Brera or Davar Sheni B'Shu, so the same issue. So the question was that Mishnah seem to be against Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan's Stam Mishnah. The Gemara tried to get out of it; it didn't work. And then the Gemara says there's not a Stam Mishnah. Our Mishnah that says Ganav Ganav is Potter, and the Gemara says his Potter doesn't have to pay to the first Ganav, but why doesn't he have to pay to the original owner? And the Gemara says because the original owner is not Rishusa. The fact that he doesn't have jurisdiction over it also falls under the same category. It's not his. Just like he can't be maktish, he can be mafkirit. You can't collect kefil on it. It's not considered yours enough. The fact that it's not under your jurisdiction, so there's a chesaron, there's a lacking in your ownership, and therefore there's no kefil. And because of that, Rabbi Yochanan paskins against those other mishnayos, even though there's a stam mishnah this way, there's also a stam mishnah the other way also. So yesterday, what else did we do? Just recapping yesterday's Gemaras. There were 3 people, Abaye, Rav, and Ravina, that said that if not Rabbi Yochanan, that said that Rav Dosa and the Brisa hold like each other. The Rav Dosa and the Snuin of the Mishnah. The case of the Snuin was that you wanted to save the Ganobim from eating out the Ravai. And the second case was the Rav Dosa and Rav Yehuda. They spoke about the ignorant poor that are taking a look that they're not supposed to. You want to save them from eating things that are not tied. So Abaye and Rav and Ravina all say that if not Rabbi Yochanan saying that it's the same opinion, we could have differentiated. Abaye says that even though Rabbi Dosa holds you make a takana for the poor, but doesn't mean you have to make a takana for the Ganovim, like the Gemara says, Alitei Rosh Hashanah. So Shimon Gamliel says that it's not necessary to save the Ganovim from eating Natir Ravai. You can save the ignorant Amayaretz, the ignorant poor, but someone stole, you want to save them also from it. That's not necessarily will they make a takana over there. Rabbi said that you could say that Natir Ravai is different. that there's a different reason to be lenient by Netter Avoy, even though they're the Ganab over there, because Netter Avoy, he says it's like Meiser Sheni Quanto Ameya, that Mama Gaboa, and it's not really, it's never yours, but the token says it's yours sometimes, but it's not really yours. And so too the thing of Rishus, so it could be that they made a special exception over there that since it by Netter Avoy is different, that over there the Torah considers it yours even though it's not, it considers it's a Rishus even though it's not.
What
And
Rishus are going to do?
okay, it's just chazering yesterday. We'll get to Nusugi soon. And over there, that's why we allow you to be voted, even though it's not in your jurisdiction. But by the leket, it's not under your jurisdiction. You can't be mafkir or makdir something which is not under your jurisdiction. And the last thing what Ravina said towards the end of the line, bottom of the page, was that without Rabbi Yochanan, we would have said that Rabbi Dosa is the tznuin, not that he holds the same. That's the ton of the tznuin. Even though Rabbi Yochanan says usually that Allah is not mishnah, that's only because we could assume that it's the opinion of the majority. But if we hold beferish that's what Das Yachid, Rabbi Yochanan also doesn't agree to a Stam Mishnah, doesn't have to hold like a Stam Mishnah, which is only a Das Yachid, and he would have said that Rabbi Dosa is the Stam Mishnah, but Rabbi Yochanan didn't say so, so that's why we had the problem, and we had the answer to answer Rabbi Yochanan. The last sugya yesterday was the top of Dafayan, and that's what they call the power of attorney. Power of attorney. Is it possible to give a power of attorney? So it's not the way it is nowadays. Nowadays, whatever the legalities are, you're allowed to make a power of attorney, and he can represent you in court, and the opposition cannot say, I don't know who you are. You have to know who I am, because it says here, power of attorney. But the way using it wasn't, the Gemara says, and the Dina the Gemara says that opposition can say, I don't have to speak to you. You're not the one that I'm arguing with. Let him come himself. I don't have to speak to you. So the way that it's done is that the plaintiff, the one who's the Toveya, in order to make a representative, a power of attorney, so he gives him that if you're going to win the case, it's going to be yours. You're going to win the case. You're going to win the issue that we're arguing about. So then he can come in and say, I have what to do with this because I stand to gain. The Gemara says you don't have to give the whole thing. You could even give a percentage. The Gemara says half, a third, a quarter. You could also give 1% or whatever it is, half a percent, whatever the law is going to accept as his fee. So you give him a percentage of the gain, and then he can come and say, I have the business being here because I'm going to get the gain out of this. But the Gemara has a problem that according to Rabbi Yochanan, it says you can't be marked as something which is not in your jurisdiction. So this guy is coming to Bezdin with a plaintiff, the one who is sending an attorney to claim for him. He has a problem that the thing is not in his jurisdiction. How can he give it over? He has to give it over. He has to be marked to him that you will have a chelik in my sack of wheat. Chaim David gave an example yesterday, the sack of wheat. So that the Gemara says Taka might be a problem. It might be that according to Rabbi Yochanan, you wouldn't be able to do it only on Karka, but on top of the Talmud, you wouldn't be able to make a power of attorney to, if you don't have the thing in your hand, it's not someone stole it, so it's not under your jurisdiction. The first lesson says that's a problem. The second lesson says that's not a problem. Taisa says even though you're passing like Rabbi Yochanan, you could hold like this also for some reason. I didn't see the details. The Pashas in the Gemara say that we don't pass like Rabbi Yochanan according to the second version, and you could be marking it even though it's not under your jurisdiction. But the problem is kafre, that if he denies the whole thing, that you don't, there's no such thing. If he says that, yes, you gave me such a picodon and I returned it, let's say, then you could write out a show. But if it says that I never gave you, and there was no such picodon, you don't own the thing at all. This thing that I have in this silver cup that I have in my, this is mine. You never gave it to me. So then Bezdin wouldn't be able to sign a document that says that I'm giving you over my silver cup. If he says that's a sheker, maybe it's a sheker. So that the Gemara says there would be a problem of signing on something which might be a falsehood. Bezdin doesn't know for sure that that's included in the, you can't do that. There's this Taisa brings down this other Gemara also when you sign on a document, doesn't mean that you're testifying everything that it says. Or you're just testifying that so and so said so. It comes out another Gemara that says that if they didn't sign, it says in the star about Ruvain Alevi, let's say. I don't mean to say Ruvain Alevi, or Ruvain Alevi. I mean, someone who's Ruvain, that's a Levi. And then the Edom sign on the star. Are they testifying that Ruvain is a Levi? Maybe he's not. That the Edom don't have to go. Someone's, whatever the case is making a transaction or is getting married, and it says that he's a Kohen, a Levi. And when the Edom signed, did they say we're testifying to all the details that it says? Not necessarily. So Taisa brings that sugi into Asugi also. And then the Gemara said, the last Gemara, we got a little stuck at the last Gemara. The Gemara said, according to Rashi's Pshat, that even though the formality of giving the attorney a chelik in the, what do you call that thing they're arguing about? What's the name for that? Okay.
Claim.
The claim, thank you. that even though he has to give him a chelik in the claim in order to be able to be his representation, everyone knows that he doesn't really mean it. He just is doing it for the formality. So a member says, but if the shliach wants to keep it, he can keep it. If the attorney is going to say, you wrote over here that I get half, a third, so I'm allowed to keep it. Rav Ashi says no, that it's muchach in the shtar, that he only did it in order to make him a shliach or a shutif, so therefore he doesn't get, even though it's written in it that he could come to court, but it's understood he's going to give it back then. He has the right that he's allowed to claim it, but then he has to give it back to the real owner. And that's what it seems to say. And in Rav Ashi, who says that he can't keep it, the attorney has to give it back to the plaintiff who won the case. But there's a question: is it a shliach or a shutif? And shutif would mean that he has part of it, which let's say if whatever he wrote to him, he has a right to get half of whatever he wrote to him. I think it's found the Gemara, and Allah is shliach shavye, and he's just a shliach, and he can't keep it. I think I didn't look in the Allah at all. Just tried to learn this morning. That it seems to say that even though officially the plaintiff has to give the attorney a chelik in the claim in order to be able to represent him, and the defendant shouldn't be able to say, I don't know who you are, I don't have to speak to you. But when he does win the case and the attorney does get it, he does have to give it back to the plaintiff, and whatever he has to pay him for his attorney, for his fee of fame, but not that he has a chelik in the goods that he claimed for him. More or less, don't pass on anything without looking at it for Shulchan Aruch first. That's the general idea I got from the Gemara. New Gemara. So we're going further. The Mishnah. We're going further now. Ganav. Something's doubled over here. Not so nice. Still not so nice. Okay. You see, it could be. So we have the halacha about kefil. I'll slow down a little bit. That was just chazor till now. So now to go further. The Ganav is chayv kefil. And if he stole an ox or a sheep and he slaughtered it or sold it, he has to pay 4 or 5 times. 4 for the sheep, 5 for the ox. And you have to have witnesses, of course. You have to have witnesses that he stole it. You have to have witnesses that he slaughtered it. If there are 2 Eidim that testify that he stole it, and also the same 2 Eidim say that afterwards we saw that he slaughtered it or he sold it. So you're going to have to pay 4 or 5 times, right? They pay $1. Now it says it doesn't have to be the same Eidim. You could have you also could have that the 2 Eidim come and say that he stole it, and 2 other Eidim come and say, and we saw that he slaughtered it. They know that he stole it. They know that he slaughtered it. Also, you put all the Eidim together. We come to Bezdin, and we have 2 Eidim that testify that this man stole the sheep. Then we see other 2 Eidim come and say that we saw him slaughter that sheep, even though they alone are not enough testimony. They just say that he slaughtered the sheep. Okay, he slaughtered the sheep. Everyone slaughters sheep. Every day, people slaughter sheep. But no, he slaughtered. But the other Eidim say that was a sheep that he stole. So you make the combination of the two sets of Eidim, and now you say Yechayev Daled V'Hei. So the Mishnah says if he stole with 2 Eidim and he stole with 2 Eidim and he slaughtered or sold it on the testimony of those same 2 Eidim or a different Eidim, that's enough to pay Daled V'Hei, because the mice you have the witnesses. The Gemara doesn't have a problem about this, but the Mishnah seems to be simple. The Gemara is going to say it's not so simple. Next case. Now this Mishnah is going to be simple, and it's not going to be any chiddush. The chiddush is the chiddush is going to be the next Mishnah, which comes up not next Mishnah, 2 Mishnahs. It's going to come up. There's a concept called Kamle b'Rabbi Minei, which we had a couple of times. That if somebody, what would be the word? He incurred death penalty in a certain act, and in the same act he also incurred upon himself a monetary liability. Since he was the same act caused him a death penalty, he doesn't have the monetary penalty. The case will be simple. If somebody shot and killed, so of course it's chayv misa for killing, and even if it's b'shogeg, but you wouldn't be chayv misa inherently. Then the Yorshim come and say that he also tore a suit. The bullet went through the suit, so he should pay for the suit. So that's called kamei b'Rabbi Minei, that if one act caused a death penalty and also a monetary penalty, he doesn't have to, not even a penalty, payment. He's putter from the payment because the same act caused him a bigger liability. And here, this mission is not going to be, but the next mission is going to be cases that he stole, or the slaughtering is going to be in a way, or the slaughtering or the selling is going to be in a way that is chayiv misa, that caused the death penalty. So therefore, he's not going to be chayiv to Daled V'Hei because Kamle b'Rabbi Minei. But our mission is just a sister mission, the mirror mission. First, you can have cases that is not chayiv misa, so therefore he's going to be chayiv. Our mission is going to be pashut. But In contrast, the next Mishnah where it talks about cases of being chayiv misa, that's the chiddush over there. That since it's coming with Rabbi, they say it's not going to be chayiv the payment of kefil, holiday, whatever it might be. So the Mishnah starts, and it's going to be pretty simple. One case, somebody stole and sold it on Shabbos. So the Gemara is going to say that it's not a case of being chayiv misa. Because slaughter, we'll just give a hint. Slaughter on Shabbos is going to be chayiv misa. Not a slaughter on Shabbos, and that's chayiv misa. So if he would have stolen and slaughtered it on Shabbos, he's not going to be chayiv dalet v'hei because of kam levi d'Rabbanan. This concept called kam levi d'Rabbanan. But the Mishnah is all going to be cases that are not kam levi d'Rabbanan. So it's going to be simple. Also, selling to avodah zara is not going to be a chayiv misa. Slaughtering to avodah zara might be, but selling to avodah zara is not. So therefore, there's no reason why he shouldn't have to pay. So he have to pay for the dalet v'hei. He stole and he sold. He has, even if he slaughtered on Yom Kippur. So Yom Kippur is not chayiv skila, it's chayiv koris. So therefore, the simple Mishnah seems to hold that chayiv koris, he incurred upon himself chayiv koris, not a death penalty of bezdin, but a koris b'dei shamayim. How do they call that? Excision or something like that? Is that the way they say it? That he's chayiv misa b'dei shamayim or koris. So is that enough to make him come levi d'Rabbanan? Our Mishnah holds that not, and therefore it's also going to be chayiv dalet v'hei. The next case is that he stole from his father. You're not allowed to steal from a father, even though it's his father. You're not allowed to steal from him. And if he would have tabach machar, so he should be chayiv that he stole and slaughtered. So he should be chayiv dalet v'hei. But here the issues might be that in the case where he inherited it, if the father would have died, like the opposite mission is going to be that if he would have stolen from his father, then the father died, and then he slaughtered it. So when he slaughtered it, it's already his. So he wouldn't be chayiv. He would have been chayiv kefil to the father, but he's not going to be chayiv dalet v'hei because it's already his. But here the case was that his father died after the tavach machar. So at the time he's chayiv dalet v'hei because he stole, and he just tavach machar, rather still belonged to the father. Even though the father died afterwards, he's still chayiv dalet v'hei. Next case, ganav v'tavach v'yachkach hikdash. He stole and slaughtered it, so he's chayiv dalet v'hei. Even afterwards, he was makdish it. It doesn't make a difference. If he would have been makdish before his tavach, then he wouldn't be chayiv. He would have chayiv only the re'eyu. But all these cases are simple mishnais. In contrast to other mishnais, which are going to come up with, is going to be a chayiv misa, come with the or some other kind of a p'tur that it belongs to himself or belongs to hektish. All these cases, Bava Kamma. How many cases do we have? Machav b'shat, gonna b'machav b'shabbos, gonna b'machav avodah zara, gonna b'tavach b'yom kippurim, gonna b'shalom when the father died, or hektish. So 5 cases. It says all these cases are chayiv. Now to mesh chiddush in this Mishnah, the chiddush is going to be in the opposite Mishnah. The Mishnah continues, gonna b'tavach le'refuah, all the klovim. If somebody stole and then he slaughtered it, not for the purpose of eating, but the purpose of refuah, whatever the case might have been, he needed, I don't know, the blood, or he needed some part of the animal, some organ that he's not planning on eating the meat, but it's a kosher shechita. He did a kosher shechita. So that's called ganav v'tavach, even though he doesn't need it for the meat, but the mice, it was a kosher shechita. Or he slaughtered it for dogs. So they don't need a kosher shechita, but the mice, it's kosher shechita. He slaughtered it for the purpose of giving it to the dogs, the meat to the dogs, for the dog food. But the mice was a kosher shechita. So if he did a kosher shechita, so ganav v'tavach, it's chayiv dalet v'hei. Hashoch v'nim says treifa. What if he shechted it and it came out that the animal was a treifa? It wasn't a kosher animal. Something was wrong with some internal organ, a way that wouldn't be able to live very long. So it's called the treifa, and you're not allowed to eat it. So it's not edible. It was a shechita which doesn't allow you to eat it because it's a side point that problem that's a treifa. Or hashechet chulin bazara, that he shechted a chulin, a non-carbon animal in the base of mikdash, and also you're not allowed to eat it. So the Tanna Kamma doesn't make a difference if you're allowed to eat it. If you're not allowed to eat it, the shechita does have halachic reference relevance. The case would be, let's say, by a treifa, that at least the shechita made that it shouldn't be in a bela. There's a difference between an avela and a treifa, for instance. So the shechita does make a difference. In all these cases, all these cases you pay dalet v'hei because it's considered a good shechita. The last two about a treifa and the case of chulin bazara, Rab Shimon holds you get to be potter, and that goes with the famous Rab Shimon that says shechita she'eina ruya lo shma shechita. Rab Shimon says that if a shechita which is not allow you to eat it, so it's not called a shechita, and it has very many ramifications. This opinion of Rab Shimon. Our Mishnah doesn't hold like that. Our Mishnah holds that even though you're not allowed to eat it, but the shechita did help something, so it's called a shechita. It's not like he shot it in the head, he shechted it. According to Rab Shimon, even if he shechted it, if it doesn't have permission to eat it, it's not called a shechita, and therefore it wouldn't be chayv dalad v'hei. These two cases. The other case, let's say for refuah, for kolavim, even though you don't mean to eat it, but it's a kosher shechita, you're allowed to eat it if you want to, even though your purpose is only to give it to dogs. But Shimon also used to that's called a shechita ruya. It's a kosher shechita. Bava Kamma says even shechita that you can't eat because of technicality, it's a treifa, or because it's chulin bazara, still it's called a good shechita, and as far as the other day, it would be fine. Okay. Many halachas that the Mishnah in general says that all these cases is yes chayv b'alad v'hei. We'll see the opposite contrasting Mishnah slides later on. And the first case we go on to is that there were two sets of Eidim. The first case was Ganav B'Tava al Pi Hem, the same Eidim that said that he stole it also said that he slaughtered it afterwards, or even out, all Pi Shnayim Hem. This is going to be the subject of the first sugya, that even if two other Eidim come to say that he slaughtered it or stole it, that's enough to make him $5 v'hei. We bring in both sets of Eidim to Bezdin, and he said, these Eidim say we saw that he stole it, and the other Eidim say we saw that he slaughtered it. The same animal same animal that they say that was a stolen animal, so we saw him slaughtering it. So now we have a combination of all the Eidim, and now we're going to say that he has to pay dalad v'hei. And that the Gemara has an issue with. It has an issue with. It seems that our mission is against Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva says that Eidim are only accepted in Bezdin if they say the whole testimony. But if they said half a testimony, and you need somebody else in order to complete all the information in order to bring out the charge, so it's not enough. How does it go over there? The word the davar. Thank you. That an issue should be established to be two or three witnesses. So they say it has to be the whole thing has to be established, not half a thing, not half a story. It has to be the whole story. So if Eidim come and say the whole story, we saw that he stole it and he slaughtered it. So then they said the whole story. They said enough information to make him chayv dalad v'hei. But if two Eidim come and say that he stole it, fine, that's going to be chayv kefil. And then the other Eidim come and say that he slaughtered it, but they don't know the whole story. They just say we don't know. We just know that he slaughtered it. So they don't say a story. They say only chatzi dov. They have a story that you have to have the combination of the other Eidim in order to make him chayv dalad v'hei. So people should hold that that's not considered a good testimony. We don't listen to testimony that doesn't have a full story in it. Tanya, Amr Rabbi Yossi, Shalach Abu Chalafta is Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, Lema Torah, Bamri Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri is Abu Chalafta. So this is famous Rabbi Yossi ben Chalafta. I think it's the Stam Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi ben Chalafta. So when he says over his name, his father's name, he doesn't call him by name. He calls him Abba Chalafta. His name is Chalafta, and he calls him Abu Chalafta. When Rabbi Yossi said, when my father Chalafta went to Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri to learn Torah, some say the opposite of Girsa. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri went to my father Chalafta to learn Torah. Amar lo, he said to him, I'm not sure who said to who. We know that a chazaka, this is not a subject, but in Bava Basra we're going to have eventually, because we should get there, that in order to make a chazaka, to sell that you can have proof that the field that you're stealing in is yours. So you have to show that you've been there for 3 years. It means when we know that it was once upon a time somebody else's land, and now you're sitting there. So we ask you, so he said, what are you doing here? We know that this person used to own it. He claims that it's his. What are you doing in his, what is it called? Somebody moves in? Squatting. You're squatting, coming in. So he says, what do you mean I bought it? So we ask, where's your contract? So he has to take out a contract. If he doesn't have a contract, so we throw him out and say, the original owner, he's the owner. But after a long time, we don't have a cash anymore. Why he's not doesn't have his contract? It's already many years, and the original owner didn't say anything. So that's called the chazaka. Then 3 years. 3 years. If someone's been says I've been there for 3 years and he knew about it and he wasn't complaining, why has he been so quiet the whole time? And even though I have no contract, I lost my contract already. How much am I supposed to hold on to it? I saw that everything's calm and the original owner is not making any noise, and I'm sitting here for 3 years and he didn't complain. He didn't make a macha, what's it called? He didn't make a protest. So then I safely assume that he's not gonna complain and protest the sale, and therefore I lost my contract. Okay, that's the halacha, but Basra, you have to have 3 years proof that you've been sitting here and the owner didn't protest. So he has to bring Eidim that he's been there for 3 years. So if he has two Eidim that he's been there for 3 years, fine. But if he has 3 sets of Eidim, the neighbors kept on rotating, and the first neighbors, they stayed there for 1 year, and then they left. And then another set of neighbors come there for the second year, and a third set of neighbors, and then a testimony for the 3rd year. He doesn't have one set of Eidim that say he was there for 3 years. He has 3 sets of Eidim. Each one testifies on 1 year. Is the testimony on 1 year worth anything? No. Being there 1 year doesn't show anything. You have to have 3 years. So this is a case of Akiva said that it's not going to be a good testimony because they're not saying the whole story, they're saying half a story. So he asked him if he achla means he ate it. It means that he collected the crops, he lived on it. He consumed the field for the first year in front of two Eidim, second year in front of another two Eidim, and the third year in front of another two Eidim. Is that good? Is that good enough chazaka? So he said that is good. Rabbi Yossi or Rabbi Yochanan Manuri, they said that is good. I also agree. Both of us agree. Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yochanan Manuri, both of us agree that it's a good chazaka. But Rabbi Kiva argues. Rabbi Kiva says it's not a good testimony. Rabbi Kiva Omer, that he only got a testimony on a whole issue, not on half an issue. And here's the Rashi on that. I mean, not the Rashi, the pasuk on the side of the Rashi. Yeah, here it is. It has to be a whole davar. It has to be a whole issue. But you can't testify on half a story. So Akiva holds that if you had three sets of Edim on 3 separate years, each one is not worth anything, so it's not a good testimony. And the Gemara thinks of here also, if you have 2 Edim that say that he stole it, and 2 other Edim say that he slaughtered it, so the Edim that say he slaughtered it, they're not saying anything. That's only half a story. You have to have a combination with the first Edim that he stole it also. So according to Rabbi Kiva, would it be a good testimony? Bezin doesn't listen to such testimony. Rabbi Abai says it's not a contradiction. Rabbi Kiva can agree to our mission also. Rabbi Kiva b'shnayim omim kidesh b'shnayim omim baal. Daf agav de'edei bia tzrichet le'edei kedushin chivin de'edei kedushin lo tzrichet le'edei bia davar karina be achanami af agav de'edei tficha lo tzrichet le'edei tficha davar karina be. Rabbi Abai says there's a difference. Rabbi Kiva only says that it's not good if all the Edim that are coming in, each one is not worth anything by himself. That the 3 Edim of the 3 years, each set of Edim, they testify in 1 year, so they're all worthless individually. Not the first, not the second, not the third. None of them are worth anything. But over here, the first Edim that said that he stole is worth something on his own. If he stole, he has to pay back, he has to pay kefil. There's value in the first testimony. Once there's one testimony, and other testimonies that are not worth anything individually, they could be stacked on the first testimony, because there is one testimony at least that is valuable to Bezdin on its own. And the Rabbi Kiva agrees. The way Rabbi proved it is because I'll show you. Rabbi Kiva surely going to agree when one of the testimonies is valuable, then you put on the other useless, so to speak, testimonies on top of that. And he gives a case where they're testifying that a woman was Mazana, a Neshes Ish was Mazana. She committed adultery. She's Chayiv Misa because she was married and she committed adultery. So the Adam that says, the Adam alone that say that she was Mazana, she lived with another man, that's not enough to make her Chayiv Misa, because maybe she's not married, maybe she's unmarried, maybe she's a single girl, and that wouldn't make that she'd be Chayiv Misa. They'd have to have the other Adam also that say that she was married. So you have to have 2 sets of Adam. You have to have 2 sets of Adam. One, the test points out that once they've been living together, you don't have to go to the Adam that 25 years ago they got married. Once they're living as a husband and wife, so that's considered a testimony that they're married. But let's say it's something new, that they just recently got married. It's not yet that chuchzak. So in order to kill this woman, you have to first bring Adam that she was married, and then you have to bring Adam that she lived with this other man. And over there, the first Adam that she was married is worth something, because now that they come to Bezin and say that we know that she's married, this has relevance to now on that she's married. She can't have relations with anybody. But the Adam alone that come and say that she had relations with somebody, that's not worth anything to Bezdin, because, okay, she did. We don't know that she's married. So you have to have, so set A doesn't need set B, but set B has to have set A, because set B alone is not worth anything. And he's, of course, Rabbi Kiva is going to be mowed over there. That's Abayi's premise. Abayi is for sure. Rabbi Kiva says you don't have to have the same Adam. Abayi says that Rabbi Kiva is not going to say it has to be the same Adam that saw this nus. They also say that she was married also. That's surely not. So what do you see? That since the one Adus is valuable on its own, so then you could stack on that either also useless testimonies on their own and stack it onto the useful testimonies here too, even though the Edim that say that it was slaughtered alone is not worth anything to us, but you can stack it onto the Edus that says that it was stolen, which is valuable to us. That's the Abayi's words. You could say Stephen goes according to Rabbi Kiva. Doesn't Rabbi Kiva Moda that if 2 people say that she was married, this woman is a married woman, and others say that there was a Meiser's nus, that even though the ADB do need the AD Kiddush, it means the ADB alone, it does say that she had relations with somebody, that's not enough to say anything to Bezdin. They have to come on to the AD Kiddush that she was married. So still, Rabbi Kiva says it's good, because the AD Kiddush, that there is value to the AD who say that she's a married woman from now on. So since that's a good ADUS, we could stack on the useless Edus also. So too, that's called Davar Kvinabe. We call it a whole story. Even though the Aiden that said that he slaughtered it is not worth anything on its own, they have to come on to the Aiden that stole it. They say it was stolen. Now we say that we saw it slaughtered. Since the Aiden Gneva do stand on their own, because that's valuable for us to know that it was stolen to pay the Kera and the Kefil. So therefore, it is enough, and even Rabbi Kiva could be the author of our Mishnah. To summarize that, the Gemara taught our Mishnah that says that you can have two sets of Edom, one set saying that he stole it, and the second set of Edom saying that he slaughtered it. We thought only goes according to Rabbanan. The Gemara says according to Rabbi Kiva also, even though they argue by three sets of Edom that say he ate it 1 year, 2 years, 3 years in order to make a chazaka. That's only when each Edom alone, all the Edom alone, each one is valueless, useless. So then he says you can't put them together and make it useful. But if you have one useful Edom, Rabbi Kiva also holds you can add on to that useless Edom and stack it onto this one.
Excuse me, in the case,
side subject, now, yes, please.
In the case of the znus, it worked or it didn't work? I don't understand. She got married, and Adim says she got married, and then Adim came and said she did znus. What does one have to do with the other?
It got chopped off again. If you could try again.
What are we trying to learn from the case of that she did znus? If she got married, the Adim said she got married, and then some other Adim said she did znus. What does one have to do with the other?
What do they know? They just know that she had relations with Plony. They saw this woman had relations with Plony. We don't know that they don't know that she's married. They don't know that she's a married woman. They just know that we saw her have relations with somebody, and only because there are other Edom that say that she's a married woman, that's what's going to make her chayiv misa. But the Edus alone that she had relations with somebody doesn't mean anything, because znus for a pnuya is not punishable. If she's not married, if she's a single girl that had relations with somebody, it doesn't make her chayiv misa or anything. So their testimony on their own is not worth anything. It's only together with the Edus that said that she was a married woman.
Very good, thank you.
So now we go on for another couple of lines on a tangent. Once we brought down this machlokas about Rabbanan and Rabbi Kiva, if Edus, which is not useful on its own, is accepted by Bezdin, so we're going to talk about it. Means Rabbanan say that there's something about the 3 years of the Chazaka. Rabbanan say it's fine, that you could have three separate sets of Edom. One set of Edom comes to the first year that he was sitting in this piece of land, and the second Edom come for the second year, third pair of Edom come for the third year. That's okay. And Rabbi Kiva says, no, it's not okay. You only accept a testimony which is worth something on its own. Rabbanan also, what are you going to do with Rabbi Kiva's pasuk? Rabbi Kiva brought a pasuk. Yakum davar. That has to be a davar, has to be a whole thing. Isn't that a nice drasha? Rabbi Kiva says it has to be a full story. And according to Rabbanan, you're allowed to say half a story. What are they going to do with the pasuk? The mutemai. What are they going to use this pasuk to exclude from being a good testimony? The mutay echad begaba. I'm sorry, echad omer echad bekresa. He's talking about testimony to show that a woman is already mature. She's a gedola. She has two pubic hairs that make her an adult. So you have to have Edom. You have to have Edom that testify that she has hairs. And if you have Edom that say only on one hair, so they didn't say a whole story, and the other Edom are going to say on the other hair. So each one alone is not a full story. And here it's going to say that even the Rabbanan hold it's not good enough. For some reason, even the Rabbanan that say that a half story is good enough, by the case of the 3 years of the Chazaka, to prove that it's his land, they're going to agree that this is not a good Edus. If you have only Edus only on one hair and another Edus on one hair, it's not good enough. And we have to explain why. What's the difference between the case of the 3 years of Chazaka and the 2 hairs? First the Gemara, yes? I need help over here. So if you have something to say, please don't go away. So first, the Gemara first was a bit, what's the word? The Gemara's going to be technical. That when some of the words don't make sense and it says one says sounds like one person. One person says that there was one here. Begaba means in the back, on her back, on the back, on her back side, on her front. So if two Edom would come and say that she had these 2 hairs, so it'd be good. That'd be good testimony that she's a gedola. But one said one place and the other said the other place. So that's not a good. Even according to Rabbanan, that Edus, that each one says half a story is good enough, but this is not good enough. The Gemara interjects. That's the side problem. He's saying 1/8, 1 and 1. 1 and 1 is nothing. It's not only a chatzidava, it's a chatzidava because you only have 1/8 on each one. That's surely not good. You only have 1/8. 1/8, 1/8 is nothing. You have to have 2 8 on each one. So the Gemara corrects it. That was just a slip. Or the word echad means one set. It doesn't mean 1/8. The one says okay, you have 2 8 on each one. Put that on the side. That there wasn't 1 and 1, it was 2 and 2. But you have one set of testimony on one here and one set of testimony on the other here. And that even I want to say is not good. Why not? Each one is saying that she's a Ketana because only saying that she has one here. I don't understand. The Gemara, you have to explain to me from this. The case before, each one says that they were there 1 year. That is good enough, even though each one alone is worthless. But you put them all together, we have 3 years.
1 year is something.
1 year is something.
1 year by itself means nothing.
1 here and 1 year also means nothing. 1 year and 1 here, but either one is nothing.
Excuse me.
What's the difference?
Excuse me.
Means she's still a cotton.
But it might be other years. I don't know. I only see 1 here.
That means she's still a cotton.
I think for sure she's a cotton. I just know there's 1 here. If I might agree if he says I saw the whole body and there's only 1 here, and they deny the other ones that are saying there was a second here. But if they say I don't know, I just looked at one part of her and over there was 1 here. What's going on the other side? I don't know. So why is that difference than saying?
But that's by itself is meaningless.
So the 1 year is also meaningless.
Means that
if there's going to be another year, if there's another year, I don't know. And he also he says there's 1 here.
I see a big difference.
You see a difference, but I'm not getting it. But I'd like to.
Rebbe,
She says, by the so the his interest that he was Masik.
Yes, for 1 year.
Okay.
1 day,
It's
1
the
month,
interest that he
12
was.
months. Okay. And here
Yes.
also you need 2 years.
Yes, that's
How many
1
years
year.
are there? I saw 1. Maybe somebody else saw another one. Unless I could agree that he said if he needs to say I only saw 1. I saw only 1. I saw only 1 because I'm denying the other one. Then you have like Edis Macheshes arguing with each other. I didn't look very far into this. I just was yes, Lev Yaakov.
when it comes to the hair, when they see 1 hair, then it means she's a cotton. And so they did nothing. But when he says 1 year, 1 year is a third of 3 years. So even though it doesn't help, it's a third of something. So that's why they're different.
1 hair is a half of 2 hairs.
No, 1 hair means she's a cotton and it's nothing.
He says, I don't know the rest of the story. I just saw 1 here. If the case is that he says, I saw 1 part of the body, over there's 1 here. What's doing on the other part of the body? I don't know. I didn't look over there. So is that any kasha? I saw, do I see that she's a katana? I see 1 here. I don't know what's doing on the rest. If you mean to say that they say, we saw that there's only 1 here. We checked the whole body. We saw there's only 1 here. And the other one says, yes, I agree, there only was 1 here, but it's in a different place. So then I could hear that what you're saying, that each one is saying that she's a katana, she only has 1 here. Because the testifying, she only has 1 here. But if he's saying, I see that she has 1 here, and I don't know if she has more here. So then I don't know what the Gemara means.
Tesis deals with it.
Tesis deals with it, then I don't know what Tesis says. But I had to explain that. I don't understand.
She has 1 here and she falls out and she has another here.
Okay.
Is that good or she's still a cotton?
I forgot. There's a sugi about it. Not true. I forgot about it. Okay, that was a side point. And
Because that is still a cotton. 3 years is definitely different because it shows that each year is separate, that the only 4 more within the so you got 3 years together.
yes, but maybe there are 2 years. I just didn't see the other one.
Here also, he's the Baal. It's just establishing it. He was the Baal 3 years ago, probably when he moved in.
He says he was the other guy.
That's
We don't know anything. We don't know anything. He's screaming that he's.
Now the guy's waiting till the 3rd year, so he has. It's already been. And we're establishing it.
No, he says you haven't been here. The guy might say you haven't been here.
He did on each set is establishing that he was.
That's the question. Each one is not establishing enough. Each one is only a third. Being
Right,
1 year,
but it's
guy has patience.
establishing
1 year.
something that was. With the katana, there's nothing to establish. She was now it's supposed.
The question is what she was a katana once upon a time. Now does she have 2 years? And we have 2 Adam. If you put both of them together, we have 2 years.
haircut gets changing into Gedol.
It's
Over
changing
there,
into the owner.
over there is when
He's not the,
you're not going on the first.
the
You're
squad,
going on-
the squatter, you're changing the squatter into an owner, just like you're changing the front on a double.
Right, but it's already, we were establishing that happened 3 years ago, not that it happened today.
Okay, food for thought, and everybody should enjoy the sugya. The next one, a new sugya. Ganav or mocha b'Shabbos. So the mission seems to be simple. That it says that if somebody stole and sold on Shabbos, so there's no chiyuv misa. There's not a chiyuv misa. You're not allowed to make business on Shabbos, but it's not a chiyuv misa. That's because it's Rabbanan, Mekach Memkar is also Rabbanan. There's no chiyuv misa for doing business on Shabbos. So if the ganav stole and sold on Shabbos, so there's no reason why he shouldn't be chayv daled b'hei. If you would have slaughtered on Shabbos, we'll see a case. Slaughtering on Shabbos is chayiv misa, so then it's going to become a little bit drop in there. But stealing and selling on Shabbos is not chayiv misa, so therefore he's chayiv daled b'hei. But there's a brayso that says that he's put in this case also, and that doesn't make sense to us because there's no common be drop in there. So the Gemara is going to invent cases that it's possible to have a sale that's also being a chol Shabbos. The sale could also be a chol Shabbos. Usually slaughtering is a chol Shabbos and selling is not a chol Shabbos. But the Gemara is going to find cases, and all the answer to the brayso. The brayso says there's a case that he sold on Shabbos, he's departed from pain because of Kamli B'Dravimine. What's going to be a case? Can anybody think of a case that the sale was a Chil Shabbos Daraisa? Bava Kamma, and not only not the buyer, the seller has to incur upon himself a death penalty by doing the act of selling. So that's what we're looking for. We're trying to invent a case that by selling something, you machal Shabbos. What happened?
As the seller's giving it to the buyer, he's selling.
He's machal Shabbos. So it wasn't at that case. And there might be some technicality that might be difficult. That's going to be a second terrace. First terrace. So let's just find maybe just highlight it a little bit.
Selling a person,
A person should be made a sale of a cow, ox or a sheep.
Oh.
He sold the ox or a sheep. This ganav, the ganav of Tavachol Mocha. Yesterday's parsha. Ki ignovish hazeh the shoro zet v'chol mocharo chamishol b'kor. The case of 4 and 5. He stole the ox and he sold it on Shabbos, and he's chayv misa for the sale. What can be a case? Sorry, you already gave us a case, but let's take it slow. Tanya Pater. Okay, we'll get to the Gemara. But first, the kasha is Pater. Brayso says, God of Mocha b'Shabbos is going to be Pater for paying because it's chayv misa. So first there it's Ami Rami Bava Kamma, Kitanya the Pater, ba'omelo, akot te'ena mite'ena si. Particularly Gnevu Sech. That the buyer said, I'm going to pay you for the Gneva. You want to tell me the Gneva. This sheep or this ox or sheep, you said the stolen ox, the stolen sheep, so I'll buy it from you on Shabbos. The way that I'm going to pay for it, the way that it's going to be acquired to me is by I have a fig tree over here, pick a fig, and by picking the fig, I'm going to own the sheep. Means the acquisition of the sheep was done. The way that the Ghana succeeded in selling the sheep was by being Mechal Shabbos of a Kenyan of. Is it going to be Chalipin or something like that? I guess it's like Chalipin, that I'll switch you a fig for a sheep. So by you taking the fig, I'll own the sheep. So when the Ghana picks off the fig off the tree, is Mechal Shabbos, and that's how he made the sale. So there's a case of making a sale that's a Chil Shabbos, and that's why it's going to be part of the Alabay. Amri, but the Gemara doesn't like that. Amri, they said, the Gemara is questioning, is that really a good sale? If this Ganav, if he's a Ganav, he didn't lose he's still a Ganav. So he stole the sheep, and then he made a deal with somebody, and I'll pick the fig, and I'll give you the sheep. He picked the fig, and then he's not giving the sheep. Like he's continuing in his. He should have known, you're buying from a Ganav. So he picked the, and now he goes to Bezdin, the fig owner, he goes to Bezdin and says, he took my fig and he didn't give me the sheep. So Bezdin is not going to make him pay because he's because of Mechal Shabbos. Since he's Mechal Shabbos, so that the Gemara calls that also commonly be dropped a little bit. That's chiddush because it's not a question of a punishment; it's a question of pain. And the Gemara says he doesn't have to pay either. That the best he's demanding in Bezdin to give me back my fig or give me the sheep. And Bezdin says he did a Chil Shabbos with this act, so we're not going to deal on the monetary issues that came because of it. So the Gemara is asking, since that's so you can't call it a real sale. So the sheep also wasn't sold. If the Gemara thinks at this point, the Gemara is going to question it. But at this point, the Gemara says that if Bezdin doesn't enforce the sale, or whatever the word would be, they don't maintain the sale, they don't authorize the sale, it's not a good sale. A peasant is not going to make him pay for give the sheep because of this sale that happened. So it's not a good sale. So he shouldn't be chayv for Dalet Vei either. This was the Gemara. They said, since if he would demand him in front of us and then we wouldn't tell him go pay up, why not? Because he's chayv misa, so it's not a good sale. So he shouldn't be chayv Dalet Vei. So now the Gemara says the second teretz. The Gemara is going to come back to this teretz again. The Gemara didn't give up. The Gemara is going to come up, but at this point the Gemara gave up. Elam Papa, a new pshat. This is Zari's pshat. That the buyer said, put it into my chutzner. I'll buy it with kinyan chutzner. So when you put the sheep into my chutzner, that's going to be the kinyan. So he put it in. He put it into the chutzner, and that's the chilul Shabbos from Rishus Rabban to Rishus Yachid. So he transferred from Rishus Rabban to Rishus Yachid, and that made this sale. That's also chilul Shabbos. So more or less, that's what you said, Ari. That's the same case. That is Mechal Shabbos by putting it into the Rishus Yachid, and that's the case that it would be a pater from Dalet Vei because the sale came with a chilul Shabbos. But the Gemara says there's a question over here. Come on, Rabbi Akiva, Dama Kluta Commission Chodamya. Dikra Bana, Chivin the Matya Lachatzer, Beso, Kana, then Yeshabas Lamachai, but the Matya La'ara. So the Gemara talks about when does the kinyan happen. So I just realized we're talking about an animal, ox or a sheep. We're not talking about throwing an object. So when you throw an object, you can talk about when does the kinyan happen. When does the chilul Shabbos happen? When it lands or when it goes into the airspace of the? So I thought I was thinking about the object, but I made a mistake. We're talking about an ox or a sheep. He didn't throw an ox or a sheep over here. So the Gemara makes it sound like the kinyan happens as soon as it comes into the Avir Chatzir. I'm not sure what that means. It's not the Gemara holds it didn't land yet. What is the case? I don't know.
Maybe it'll
He threw the sheep.
go out of the rain.
The animal.
He threw the sheep.
He threw the animal. He threw the sheep.
With the ox. He didn't throw the ox. Okay, but it threw the sheep. If he threw the sheep, let's say he threw the sheep. So when does the buyer acquire it? When it comes into the airspace of his chutzner, it's already contained in the walls, so it's already.
It's fly out the far end, you know.
It's not going to fly. The Koshi was able to throw the sheep into the chutzner, and it's not going to fly out there. So if he carries this, when does he own it? When he puts it down, even in the airspace, if he carries it in, he's giving it. He's selling it, even in the airspace.
His body to his feet, and it makes it the same. Maybe it becomes a shoot.
No, the Gemara doesn't talk about being on the ground yet. The Gemara says the Gemara was the case when it didn't get to the ground yet. So the Gemara says as far as the kinyan happens, that kinyan happens as soon as it comes into the airspace. But in Shabbos, he's not trying to put it down.
Isn't that only according to Rabbi Akiva?
Have a choice not to put it down. Whereas when you're throwing it, gravity is going to bring it.
Okay, so I don't know. Rabbi Akiva, according to Rabbi Akiva, right? The Gemara says this must be according to Rabbi Akiva that he's got that they both happen at the same time. The Rabbanan say, so Rabbi Akiva says, the Rabbi Akiva says when you're on Shabbos, when you throw something, as soon as it gets kluta, word for kluta?
Absorption.
Thank you. What's the word? Absorbed. Good. Like the Mixrada klita. So as soon as it gets absorbed into the airspace, it's already high for Shabbos also. So both of them come at the same time. The acquisition of the buyer and the chilul Shabbos happens simultaneously when it comes into the airspace. But according to Rabbanan, they're not high for Shabbos until it lands. So the kinyan happened first, and then the chilul Shabbos happened, so it wouldn't be simultaneous. So that's how the Gemara says that this pshat by Papa must be according to Rabbi Akiva that says that if it's absorbed into the air, if it's enclosed, it's already considered like it's on the floor, and he's high for Shabbos right away. But Ikra Rabbanan that says he's not high for the Shabbos until it lands on the floor, it means the Avir Chaser Beso. Once it comes into the airspace, he's already Kona. But then Shabbos not Machai by the Mati Lara. He's not Chal Shabbos till it lands. So it seems after according to Rabbi Akiva. So the Gemara says we can get out of that also. It could be even according to Rabbanan. The answer is the Omer that he said, I don't want to acquire it until it comes to the ground. He has the option of acquiring it whenever he wants to. Of course, he has to be within the chutzner, but he could say, I don't want to acquire it in the airspace, I want to acquire it when it comes to the ground. So both of them came simultaneously when it comes to the ground. So Papa found the case that it's possible to sell something with a chilul Shabbos, and he's going to become a Rabbi Mineh, and he's not going to be chayv Dalet Vei. Now the Gemara goes back to the first teretz. The Gemara seems to have rejected the first teretz. That is not going to be, it's not money that you could demand in Bezdin, so it's not considered a good sale. And Rabbi is going to say that's not necessarily true. Rabbi goes back to the first teretz. Rabbi Kamma, Kamma's teretz is good. But did he say that the deal was when the gunner picks off the fig off the tree, that's when the buyer is that transaction is going to happen. The buyer will own the sheep. And it's not true. Your premise that if Bezdin is not going to execute this, not going to execute or maintain or authorize the sale, so it's not a good sale. That's not true. I'll find you that they don't like that. That even if Bezdin will not execute the sale, it's not a good word. Bezdin will not authorize the sale, confirm. They won't confirm the sale, whatever. They won't force it to be paid because Kamli B'Drabim over here. It's still called a sale because he really owes the money, even though Bezdin will not help him out. And what does he say? Esnan Asra Torah Apilu Balimo. What's Esnan? Esnan is a harlot's fee. That the Esnan is possible for a korban. If somebody paid a harlot with a sheep, let's say, he gave her a sheep for her service, and now she wants to make a korban, that animal is possible for a korban. Since it was used as a barter for the snus, so it's possible for a korban. What if he did it on someone who's chayiv misa, that with a mother, someone's chayiv skila, he had relations with his mother, he gave his mother an esnan, he wanted to have relations with her. When he has the relation, that's when he's chayiv to give her the esnan. That's what it seems over here. I didn't know that what he says for whatever kind of service, here it's like a lowly service. The service is going to be to do znus. But that's when he becomes chayiv this, and it's a chayiv misa. He's having relations with a woman that's chayiv misa. And if she'd come to demand it, she wouldn't get it because it's chayiv b'drabim that the fact that this nus was a chayiv skila, so he's chayiv misa for that, and that's not going to is not going to make him pay the monetary obligation that was incurred by that act. That's not. If she would come to Bezin and demand it, we wouldn't tell him to pay because he's chayiv misa. Even though Bezin is not going to confirm the sale, but since if he would give it to her, Bezin doesn't force it, but if he would, Rashi even calls it let's say Sidei Shamayim, like he's Yotzei, that really he has to give it because he said he's going to give it. So it's called Esnan. Even if this sale will be with the fig, if the fig owner would say he took my fig and didn't give me the sheep, Bezin is not going to pay attention because he's come to be Rabbaneh. He's chayiv misa from the act of picking the fig, but still it's called a sale. Afilu achi, top of the page, apayin aleph. Afilu achi. Since that was his deal, it's considered a good sale. So what happened just now? There was a brisa that said that even in the case of a sale, it could also become a b'drabim. Somebody stole and sold on Shabbos. It's possible to have a b'drabim. We had two cases. The simple case was the second one. The case of putting it into the rishus. That the transfer from rishus of Rabbim to rishus Yachid, the Ghana put it into his rishus. That's how the mechira took place, and it's also chiyuv chilul Shabbos for cat transferring. So there's commonly with Rabbaneh. The more the technicalities, when it has to be simultaneous. Is it as soon as it comes into the Avir Chatzir, or is it when it lands? The Gemara can make it simultaneous according to Akiva, according to Rabbanah. And the other teretz was that the transfer was made by Chilul Shabbos of picking the fig off the tree. And the Gemara, the problem with that Bezin wouldn't enforce such a kind of a payment. But the Gemara comes out that even so, since it would be considered a payment if he did pay, that's also considered a good mechira, and it's $5 v'hei. Again, it's going to be, what are we looking for? We're looking for a case to be $1 v'hei. I lost something just now. What are we looking for? We're looking for a case that should become maybe Rabbi Minei. I lost something in the cheshbon. You're looking for a sale that did come to be Rabbi Minei. It's potter because come to be Rabbi Minei. The Gemara said that called Steina, and the kasha was that if he would demand it in Bezdin, we wouldn't say to pay. So it's not a mechira. So it's not a mechira. Therefore, maybe that's a good reason why you put there. What was the worst kasha? I'm missing the Gemara's kasha before.
No, then he wouldn't be potter because then it wasn't a sale.
If it wasn't a sale, he's Mechal Shabbos, yeah, but we're looking for a case which is potter from Dalet Bey. That's what we're trying to answer. The Bryson says it's not Mechal Shabbos.
Via selling it.
Right, and now we're going to say it's not called a sale.
But no, we're saying it is a sale. I thought that was the point.
Then the Gemara says it is a sale, right? But let's say the Gemara, when the Gemara is the kasha, it's not a sale. What's more one? Very nice. That's why he's potter. That's why he's potter from Dalet Bey, because it wasn't a sale. The Gemara probably means that we're saying that you're potter, even though it was a sale. You give me a case that it was a sale, and still you're potter because come maybe in this case wouldn't be a sale at all. If it wouldn't, so that was the Gemara's kasha. The Gemara says it is a sale, and still you're potter because become Levi Rabbi.
Excuse me, Rebbe, what is Esnan?
I didn't hear the question, please. It was chopped.
What does the word Esnan mean? Esnan.
It means a harlot's fee. I don't know why the word means that. Esnan zona. Lo sevi esnan zona. Is it a pasuk on the side over here? Lo sevi esnan zona umechir kela beis Hashem alakecha. The Gemara doesn't quote a pasuk, so it's probably not going to be quoted. That is a pasuk for a korban. If you can look in the pasuk a second, we'll just look it up.
It's on the side, Raj.
It does have it.
Yeah.
Up. What happened over here? Back again. What happened? Oh, Gemara doesn't have it. You have Rashi have it? Rashi has it? Or you have it in your Gemara maybe? Okay, I'll just put it on for a second.
That's not what yeah. So I'm not going to really miss anything. Feeling the absolute truth. When you told me to repeat the same concept, that's thinking you don't realize, but you want to read for the first thing. That's the word name.
What is not coming on? Okay, he's now waking up.
It's a pasuk. Did you say it's from a pasuk?
Yes, Esnan Zono Mechir Kelev. I think it's Pashas Kiseitse. Try one more time. No, it's not letting me.
That's a different test.
We'll try again. What is that? Dvorim?
I think it's just Gimel. Possibly that's.
Yes, thank you. Is that showing on the screen, Leib Yaakov?
Yes, yes.
Dvorim 23, Pasuk 19. Do not bring Esnan Zona, Mechir Kelev Beis Hashem Elokecha. You cannot bring for a korban Esnan Zona, which is translated as a harlot's fee. I don't know what the word Esnan would mean in other words. The Esnan present, Matana, maybe it comes from the Shorish of Matana. Tough, none.
Literally means I will give.
I don't know. Okay, back to the Gemara. Okay, take that off and start again.
And we go through much hardship. Where is the moment that we find ourselves at some issue to struggle with? We may be willing to overlook other maybe when we consider more obstruction than us, but in truth, since the world is all one, they're more events who consider more unfortunate. They're more unfortunate as Americans they have.
So not the case in the Mishnah was Ganav B'Tavach B'Yom Kippurim, that if he stole and slaughtered on Yom Kippur by Shabbos, of course slaughtering on Shabbos is going to become Levi Drapine, slaughtering on Shabbos, Chayiv Skila. But on Yom Kippur it's not Chayiv Skila, it's only Chayiv Koros. And the Mishnah seems to say that that's not a reason to become Levi Drapine. If someone incurred a heavenly death penalty, together with a monetary penalty, he does have to pay. Is it really machlokas about that point? Maybe the Gemara is going to bring it at the end, but I don't know. I didn't see it yet. But the simple pshat, the Gemara says that that's not a reason to be potter. Only if it was a earthly court death penalty, then he's potter on the monetary penalty that comes together with it. But if it would be a heavenly penalty like Kores, so that's not a reason to be potter for Kam Levi Drabi Mineh, which is a machlokas tanon. But that's what our Mishnah seems to say. Ganav B'Tavach Kippurim is going to be chayiv for $1 bay. Amri, they asked the kasha, Amai, why is the chayiv $1 bay? Nehi diktala leka malchus miyaika. The Gemara doesn't go into the chorus. The Gemara goes into the malchus. That the Gemara thinks that even a malchus alone would not have to pay if he's incurred upon himself a chayiv malchus lashes. so he doesn't have to pay the monetary payment. And Kippur is surely allowed. You're not allowed to do malacha. Lo sasa malacha. You're not allowed to do malacha on Yom Kippur. It's not chayiv skila, but it's chayiv malchus, and that also should be enough reason they shouldn't have to pay. The kaimalan, then a local mishalim. We hold that a person doesn't incur both penalties to have to get malchus and also pay. So the Gemara says there is somebody that holds that he could, that he's chayiv both. Amri Hamani Rav Meir Dam a local mishalim. That Rav Meir is the author of our Mishnah that holds that he does the chayiv malchus even though he's going to pay also. Both of them, that's not that he doesn't hold up. The Gemara at this point seems to say that he doesn't hold that if he holds a kamle b'drabimine, that if he's chayiv misa he doesn't get the monetary payment, but if it was only malchus he does. He is chayiv. And others would hold that even ein local mishalim. But the Gemara doesn't understand that. The Gemara is going to soon show that Rav Meir holds that he doesn't even have a Torah of chayiv misa mishalim either. Come leave even if he's chayiv misa. So Manushach, he can't help you, Rav Meir. Meir, it's true. He holds that local mishalim, but he also holds mesa mishalim also. He holds even if he's chayiv misa also is going to be chayiv. And the Mishnah says there's a difference between Shabbos and Yom Kippur. Shabbos is going to be potter. Tavach b'Shabbos is potter. Tavach Yom Kippur is potter. What's the difference? Rav Meir Tavach b'Shabbos also should be chayiv. Maybe Rav Meir only holds that he has to pay even though he's chayiv malchus, but he also agrees that he doesn't have to pay if he's going to be chayiv misa. Below, is that not so? But Tanya, gana b'tavach b'Shabbos, gana b'tavach avodah zara, gana b'shar nisko utavacho mishalim abava chamisha de Rav Meir. This is the chiddush to us. Rav Meir says that even if he stole and slaughtered on Shabbos, also is chayiv. So that's highlight this point. Here's the price. Gonna b'tavach b'Shabbos has other cases also, and it says Mishalim tashlumi abava chamisha de Rav Meir. Rav Meir says that even if he slaughtered on Shabbos, he stole and slaughtered on Shabbos, also he's going to be chayiv dalet vei. So it sounds like our Mishnah came to Rav Meir. Rav Meir says this means against kamle b'drabimine. This goes against kamle b'drabimine because everybody holds that if you slaughter on Shabbos, he's chayiv misa. So if he stole and slaughtered, so how can he be chayiv dalet vei? Rav Meir seems to argue on the whole thing. Other cases,
it's just
also, even though these are all conscious because the Tobit Chavod Zara is also chayiv misa. He's serving Avodah Zara. Kind of sharanis go to Vacho. It's not our subject right now. I don't get it. But the point is, Rav Meir says, "Gonna b'tavach b'Shabbos is chayiv." But Chachamim potrim because of Kam Levi Rabbi Minei. So you can't say our Mishnah is Rav Meir to explain the Gana b'tavach Yom Kippur because our Mishnah says Gana b'tavach b'Shabbos is just going to be potter, and Rav Meir doesn't hold that. Amri b'amino dahi. Bar mina means that's sorry. Bar, like they say bar minan, and they want to say like not for us. They want to say they shouldn't come upon us. You say bar minan. The word bar means outside, like shlish milavar, shlish milago. That bar means outside. Like the word brisa also comes from the outside brisa. So bar minan that's outside. Like don't bring that in. The itma Allah Amr Rabbi Yaakov Amr Rabbi Yochanan Amr Rabbi Yirmiyah Amr Rabbi Shimon Lakish Rabbi Ovid Rabbi Bila V'chol Chavu Rasa Mishmei Rabbi Yochanan Amri V'tabech Al Yachim. So the Gemara says that's not our subject. This brisa where it says, or Meir says that it's possible to be chayiv dalet v'hei for stealing and slaughtering on Shabbos is not a regular case. A regular case, he also agrees that if he's chayiv misa, he doesn't pay. This is talking about a specific case. What is that? That it wasn't the same person. It wasn't the same. The reason why it's chayav, if the same person is going to steal and slaughter, he is going to be potter because it's kamei b'drabi minei. The reason why it's chayav is because somebody else did it. One person stole. One person stole, and another person gave it to the shochet to shech. One person stole, and then he does not shech himself. He's a kosher shechita. So he gave it to a shochet. He gave it to somebody else to shech. So the reason why Meir says that he's potter from dalet v'hei. I'm sorry, Meir says he's chayiv dalet v'hei. There wasn't all that chacham potrim, but Meir says he's chayiv dalet v'hei because he's not. It wasn't the same thing. Kamei b'drabim is only when you do one act, one person, one act that incurred upon himself two penalties: a monetary payment and a death penalty. But here it's two different people. the person who stole is not the person who slaughtered him. So he doesn't have the Torah of Kamle Vidramine. So we're saying it right?
Weekday, he gave somebody else a check,
Right,
so he has to pay down, right?
right,
Even though he didn't suspect them.
right. That's what the most going to go into now. That according to your mayor, he's chayiv daled behei even if he didn't do it himself. And the Gemara is surprised. One person did this. Another person who's going to be paying for the daled behei? The Gana who stole it is going to be chayiv even though somebody else shechted it. He gave it to the shechted, and he's going to be chayiv daled behei because we tell him you stole and you stole. I didn't steal. I gave it to the shechted. No, he's going to be chayiv. That's what the more surprised about. Like that, the Fine said. He shechted it, and the one who stole it and asked him to shecht it, he's going to be chayiv daled behei. So that's the chiddush Rabbi is going to say is what do the Gemara gain by doing this? That there's no come to the Rabbi Minay over here because the two chiyuvim don't come together. I think
No, I will do, because
the shochet is chayiv misa.
the thief is not Hamis.
The thief is not chayiv misa, and he's the one who's going to be
Yeah.
He's chayiv. The shochet is chayiv misa for shechting on Shabbos, and the ganav is not chayiv misa, but he's going to be chayiv daled behei, and that's the chiddush that somebody else shechting is going to make me chayiv daled behei, and that's what the Gemara is wondering is such a thing. Amar Rava, yes, and he's bringing a couple of psukim to say that here it's possible to be chayiv daled behei even through a shliach. The Gemara says every sale is always with somebody else. Yeah, it can sell. It has to be two people in order to make a sale. So since by sale is done with somebody else, so also here's a concept that the shechita also, even though it's with somebody else, could make you chayiv also. It has something to do with shliach b'avera. Usually, I'm not sure that's anything to do with the subject, but the other one slaughtering, if you got somebody else, just like you got somebody else to buy it, that's also he's involved in the sale, and they get chayiv for that. So too, getting somebody else to shecht is going to make you chayiv daled behei. Another a few psukim for that. Dvei Rabbi Yishmael Tana. Oh, the rabbi says a shliach. The word "oh" could be a riboy. Here it says is one drasha, "oh" is another drasha, and the third drasha, the Vechizkel Tana Tachas. The rabbi says a shliach. Everybody's happy with this point that it's with the drasha at least. Maybe I should have made it a different color. Make all these blue. Oh, Tachas. Different drashas to say that Yechayiv for slaughtering it for somebody else, even through a shliach. What's the side problem on this? Is it possible that something that he himself would have done, he wouldn't have been chayiv, but he made a shliach, now he's going to be chayiv? If he would have done it himself, he'd be chayiv. And now that somebody else is going to do it, he's going to be chayiv. And the Gemara answers yes, because it's a technicality. The reason why he's going to be potter is not because he's really potter, he's really chayiv. But come to be drummy, he said it's a technicality. So there's no problem that if people do it, he'd be potter. If somebody else does it, he's chayiv. But the main answer was that it was Tavech al Dayacher. Again, it's going, Gemara is going further and further. The question was by Tovech Mocher, God of a Tavach, on Yom Kippur. Why should it be chayiv daled behei? It should be potter because ein lokum mishalem. Of course, this question was to say that's Reb Meir. Okay, Reb Meir's lokum mishalem, but Reb Meir also in the Brisa said that even if he's gonna be tavach b'Shabbos is also potter, is also chayiv. So it can't be our Mishnah. And the Gemara says that's a different case. That's called talking with a shliach, and they have to say a chiddush that a shliach is not to be chayiv daled behei. And the Gemara was surprised, but the Gemara brought three psukim. The Gemara had another problem that how is it possible that if he do it himself he'd be potter? The Gemara says that's only because Kamei Vid Rabbi Minei. But we're going on a tangent now. We're on this cruise now about what Meir says that Yechayiv through a shliach. And now the Gemara is going to say that's true. Then now we're going to go on the Chachamim Pot. Why is Chachamim Potrim? Why should that be? If they also should agree to this.
Chayiv daled behei. He's not chayiv misa though. The shochet is.
The shochet is chayiv misa. He's not chayiv misa for somebody else shechting. But he'll be chayiv daled behei because you stole it and you got a shliach to shecht. Okay. And the shliach is going to be chayiv misa for shechting on Shabbos, but that's not a reason to be potter. Okay, overtime. So we'll stop here and continue from some place like the top of the page, probably. Okay.
So,
Oh, yeah, I have to run.
7 o'clock tonight.
In 7 o'clock tonight, I have to run, and Pinchas is supposed to come. Is he here ready? for the siddur. I really should have run a long time ago. I have to run.
We should go for a photo.
I should go. Oh, you should have that now.
Do you want to see here tomorrow?
Okay. You want me to make it a video? No, yeah. Thank you.
You may say on it. Yeah.
Yeah, hi, how you doing? Good, great. How's Shabbos? Had nice Shabbos? Good, Philip.
All right.
Everything's good, Baruch Hashem. For when? For when? Oh, this afternoon, I think it's good. Yeah, anytime this afternoon, it's good. I think like after 1 o'clock. Yeah, I know she's doing something from this morning. I know she said from 11 to 1 she had some kind of meeting, and I think after that I think that should be pretty good. Yeah, 1 o'clock is after 1 o'clock is after 1 o'clock is good. Right, okay. Right, you told me. Okay, so it's gonna be after 7:30 at night, it's gonna be like on 8 o'clock at night, what time? Good, perfect, that's good, because then she has to, she canceled 2 meetings, and the one meeting she has till 7:30, that she can't cancel, so at the 7:30, then we can be there by 8 o'clock. Okay, great, that's perfect.
Synagogue and the extension study hall, we expect the war.
Okay, yeah, it's available, it's good. Where is it gonna be? Where are we going? No, okay, wherever it is, we'll find it, that's good. I'm sure it's good. Yes, all the other kids, all the kids, okay, yeah, but Tuesday night at 8 o'clock is good for us. Yes.
Yeah, they will change the passage.
Oh, see, and let me know just what time you're coming, then I'll be home. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Oh, you're staying in the hotel from now till Thursday. Okay, Marky's leaving tonight, I heard. Marky's leaving tonight. Okay, great. Okay, so we'll see you later, Mitch. You got it. Okay, bye-bye.
Where's the first knowledge of the Mishnah? That they
Right.
but also to
Howdy.
they say
Emotions? Okay.
You want your seat back?
No, that's good. I'm here already. That's sticky. That's good.
to the day have been good. Right? And the smart
Okay, good.
update 464 maintains their updated about the fucking injunction on deed and historic command. Others are the opinion that today the requirements are within the see the survey handed to Orion, so on. So it's not. The point is, with this verse, the distinct rejoice the one Hashem rejoice, structure, the summertime, just paraphrasing the price of and stream on drives into the drug change. Therefore, nothing like we may not make any surface calculations to make a move. Consequently, we may not make any calculations and beneficial prevention unless for the purpose of the history. Say that the charity fund or the like, and it certainly forbid to engage in jokes, comedy, and idle chatter in the big thing short of basic price. Any attempt to prevent the limit of sex for such nomenclature is ineffective That's even if they think you should, they should, such things for me, the prohibition nevertheless applies. But in the short of the law. Yeah, maybe. That's not true.
So, yeah, you know how to do this. If you've not signed,
Okay, no, let's see.
I need a screw.
Yeah, yeah,
like
so you're missing the screw. Thank God that's not missing.
yeah. It's not expensive here. If it's complicated.
No, 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 I don't have that screw.
I just
If
go to
you
them.
stop at any eyeglass store, they'll be happy to put that screw in there for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you want, in the meantime, we could put a piece of metal.
You have a piece of metal on you.
Let's see. Check it out. My bag with me.
Let's take a pin.
Yeah, yeah, a pin, paper clip, safety pin.
Oh. Oh, very smart.
Let's see.
Harry, I bought you two on there. So take them and return them when you have time. Don't forget it. I don't know whose it is.
Okay.
I'm afraid to use that.
We're going for it.
Change something to make my glasses.
Until he stops at the eyeglass place.
You know, the best thing is a staple.
There should be one in the office.
There might be.
I don't know if that's gonna go for permission. I don't want to.
He'd allow you.
They're so thin, they're very easy to flex and it's strong enough to hold it.
Right, yeah?
Yeah. The other is hard to bend and you don't see it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's cheaper than a screw.
Yeah. It might be flexible.
I don't mind.
So I used to do it. And I have a wire cutter that's
Oh, yeah? Thanks very much.
Any eyeglass shop will be
Thank you, Michelle. Thanks for the idea.
That was ours at the end.
Ours again.
Michelle. This is
Now you'd be lighter than
I
screw.
think that's under.
I have to go to Benega. I'm leaving early to anyone. If anyone needs anything, Benega, let me know.
Hey, Rock, you're getting a cow, refrigerator or something? Refrigerator. LG.
Now, Mike, I'm not sure if I'll be in the morning. Probably will, but just in case, always put it on the top shelf. You never have to bring it straight to the room.
Just
Put it on the top shelf in the refrigerator.
Gotcha.
Shalom, Princess. Hi. Will you be coming to give the class at Rebecca? Okay, no problem. No problem. Thank you.
Hello?
No, no, no. Yeah, I lost. All right. All right. Thank you.
Is that coming?
No.
Okay, so there's no question.
You guys want to do it together?
We'll
Yeah,
try.
I'll say to him, you can give it, you can give it. I'll say to him. You know, if I would say to him, catch up later. Lametzeach.
So we're doing Shabbos Rosh. We got
Ari said I did. We should go with Rick to Shachan. I like that idea.
Yeah, and I want to ask for some.
Apparently I've had the wrong intentions all my life, so it was for something else.
Oh.
So let's do that. Here, let's do it together. I'd love to do it together. Rick to Shachan.
Maybe we kind of review or wait.
I don't remember if we did it yet, but whatever it is, we could do it. We could do it together. So it starts off, as far as I remember, it starts off with a kind of shama. That's really a continuation to Amato. We gave over, and before we go to bed, we'd say like Amato. We're giving over our neshama to Hashem and Yad Chav Keduchi. We give over our, and then in the morning we think as soon as we get up,
We think that's the first thing we're supposed to do in the morning. Say the kind of Shama, even before Modani. Modani is just some people don't want to say bracha in bed, so they say Modani. I think Rebbe explains. Now I remember we learned together with Rebbe.
Yeah, we
and
always
that's what he
say
said.
Elokan Neshama, but now you do Modani because there's no Shem Hashem.
Right. So, but really, without Modani is Rebbe would call it an invention. Really, it's a kind of Shama.
The Gemara, you get to kind of trouble.
Right. Right. So I'm just quoting Rebbe. I'm quoting what Rebbe called when we learned this together. So Elokai Neshama, we're thanking for Hashem for Neshama. Please, anyone take over. I just since no one started, I started, but no, I don't claim to know more than anyone here. Probably most people know more than I do. So we're thanking Hashem for the neshama that He gave us. Neshama is not to be tahiri; it's pure. Atabarasa, you created it. Afeitzat, you formed it. Atanafachta, you have blown into it life. Vatam neshama b'kirbi, and you watched it in me. Vatasidut from yemeni la'azir bilas lava. You're gonna take it and give back to me in the future times. Calls the man neshama b'kirbi. Whenever, all the time that the neshama is in me. Modani lefanecha. I'm known to you, Hashem Elokai v'Elokai Abisai, Riboin Kol HaMasim, the master of all deeds. Adon Kol Neshamas. How do you change that? Adon English? The
Master.
what's the difference of? All right, okay. Ribon is the 1 second. Ribon is the creator, and Adon is the master.
Ribon is also kind of the master.
So they're both masters. Okay.
What's the difference?
I don't know the difference. Dr. Fine, maybe you have a different. Okay, but it's the same idea. Baruch atah Hashem, amachzir neshamais l'fkarim mesim. Blessed are you, Hashem, who returns the neshamis to the fkarim mesim. Okay, so that was the first bracha. Dr. Fine said,
The word with Garim.
oh, because without having the neshama, would be dead.
Is what a plague is? A plague is a dead body.
I think so. No. Yeah. If Dr. Fine agrees, then yeah, fine. Okay, so that was the first bracha. Now the Gemara starts off. The order of the Gemara is first is Asher Nasa Masachvi. We thank Hashem for giving us the rooster.
Bracha 60.
Right.
60 on
You're looking much.
Look inside.
It says what ki itar, when you get up, you say the kind of shama. Then the Gemara says, when you hear the rooster, you say Asher Nasa Masachvi Vina Lavchin Ben Yan Ben Mali. You gave the rooster wisdom to differentiate between.
And ideally, we should wait. Hear
Right. There are some people, if they don't hear a rooster, will not
not
make
make.
up.
No, I met somebody that was excited. He's like, I haven't said nothing. I haven't said that bracha today, and he just heard the rooster, and he said,
Right. There's no,
And then I hear the rooster.
so it's better if you want to do it better. If you want to do it better, wait to hear the. If you're gonna hear a rooster anyhow, wait to hear the rooster. Okay. I don't know the next one in the Gemara. I don't know the order, so let's just do it the order unless someone knows the order of the Gemara.
lots of Siddurim have different orders.
Right, all the Sephardi, right. Ashkenaz and Sephardi.
Do you want this here?
You go read. You want to read the Gemara?
Next to the Gemara.
Oh, it's two different Gemara.
Yeah.
Ah, very good.
You see, it's good. That's from another Gemara.
Okay, so I have a friend, by the way. He waits till he sees a guy.
Don't count as
I think chicken and rooster be the same thing. Yeah, but I don't know the pigeons. They make
Special
It's also called during the day.
I think it's when the day starts. The rooster does during the day also, and night also does.
That night, the daytime.
Yeah, it discusses about Shkia and stuff basing off upper.
Oh yeah, I hear.
You don't really hear that, but Shkia time when you pass in the trees, you hear them going crazy.
I hear. Okay.
Watch pigeons?
Birds.
Birds in general.
Yeah, maybe
But they call it
songbirds.
that.
That's the truth. It might be that you hear more.
I hear. Okay. I hear your point. If you get an answer, let us know.
So the
That's all
Talmud
done.
goes with Natin Nesachvi, then it goes with Hokeach Ivri.
Okay, that's how to Sephardim do it. So then we all. We thank Hashem for giving. Interesting. Before Mount Shalom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then
One thing, so Matir Surim with giving Hashem, thanking Hashem to stand.
Yeah, also I remember hearing that
I was
the idea
thinking
of
about this.
being bound is also the fact that we couldn't do anything in our sleep.
Very
Back,
nice.
so now we're like
Yeah.
being released.
The Bible says Matir Surim after Pokeh.
Okay, so
But usually they do Matir Surim Zukef Kufim. I've never seen Malbish Arumi between them, and that's what.
because I understand, because in the Gemara's time you didn't wear pajamas. You would take off your clothing and go under the covers. So I guess before you stood up, you don't want to stand up without clothing. When you're sitting in bed, you change your clothing. So that I hear where they're coming from. You're sitting in bed and then you start putting on your clothing.
So you're saying you're gonna stand up before you put your clothes on?
No,
so,
no.
No. You're saying now you can stand up before you put your clothes on. So you might as well say standing. You might say Zukef Kufim before Malbish Arumi.
Right. We also do that.
Right.
But you do
Okay.
Malbish Arumim, and then they do. I don't know. It's only the called.
The thing here should go.
The order is not makif. How do you say makif?
Right. I also feel like Malbisha Rumim, you're stretching when you're getting dressed, you know, you're bent down, you're getting socks on, you're getting your pants on, and then you're dressed, then it's okay for food.
So okay to actually stand. I think
A lot of people, I don't know, most people, I would say probably most people won't.
Body of
no, Zaykev Kafuf is not only. Chaim David, I think we want to wait to a fully. I think we want to. I think we want to wait to a fully erect to say. I think because it's more of a Zaykev Kafuf.
It's so much so if you said Zukef Kufim before you said Matir Surim, you wouldn't say Matir Surim because it includes it. It's kind of like saying your bracha on talis.
What's Pshat and Matir Surim? I mean, what's the idea?
So Shaul said it when you're sleeping,
again.
you're like you're
What do you say?
lie down, and then when you
What did you say?
It's kind of like you're being bound. You can't do much of anything.
What's your
if you're
first?
bound
It's
up.
your first kind of like tearing yourself out of the bed mode.
okay. Then we have the bracha breika aretz. I'm sorry, go show.
No,
Breika aretz alamayim is that we're thanking Hashem that He makes the ground, not the water. Meaning the world would just be just one big flood. He makes the ground.
So where's the water?
So I think 75% of the world is water, something like that.
yeah, they say the ocean would come back and take over if Hashem didn't hold it back.
I thought the Pshat is that under now, right here, I don't know, 20, 50 meters down, there's water.
There's definitely groundwater.
So that makes sense also. Yeah.
No, it's definitely not just the ocean. That's not.
Your shot is much better.
Confirming a theory. They've got
Yeah,
the
I'm already standing.
They've been running on maybe like 2
I
miles.
thought they came across waters that most of
I
these
think sometimes
geysers.
they start walking.
Where the geyser water come from? Natural geysers. So
It
the
has to
water
do with
somewhere
the
down
big
there,
box.
right?
It's just so-
The
And it's
ocean.
hot.
Oh, so
And it's hot.
according to the Gemara, you
So
don't have
which-
to have.
We don't know.
Superheater, right?
You don't have
Which
to
makes
wash
sense because
it.
it's close to magma. That's their thing. They're saying.
Oh no, regarding Negelasa, so that you should. We do it. We tried it.
Reminder that Hashem is-
It's
It's not for Hashem holding things in place.
better if you can. It works out a
And
lot.
say this bracha sweet before.
From the Gemara, it's mashma. You could say the bracha before washing.
Al Hamayim.
Shmona Esrei, you're not allowed to do it till
Spreads
you wash
out
it.
the earth upon the waters.
From the Gemara,
So
it's
it
mashma.
seems to
you
be
can-
talking more about
Minutes later.
earth that's on top of the waters.
That's
Yeah.
why.
That's why
That's
we-
the shots I once left. I don't remember where I asked.
But Dr. Fine, what you say?
Said-
Rambam?
I don't know, the Rambam talks a bit negative about us.
Oh
I
no,
don't think so. I'm not positive, I don't think so.
interesting. Okay,
Yeah,
interesting.
I
Interesting.
think that seems like. Right.
I hear. Okay. So does anyone want to continue, or I should continue?
Good job.
Okay. Then we have Sha'asali called Sarki. The Gemara says that's referring to the gift of shoes.
Here the Mechin must be gathered before that.
And that's interesting because usually, okay, I guess in the house you walk around without shoes. Maybe
And then you put them on.
to go outside.
Right.
Yeah, okay, fine. So anyhow, we're thanking Hashem for shoes now.
And
Very-
and then Shah said,
Yeah.
"This is how Chabad does it."
No, it's
What you're saying.
either any order is really halachically okay. Just
No,
like
I'm not
Shaul
arguing
just
about
mentioned
that. I'm
before.
just curious why some don't do it this way, and no, that because I haven't to do it there for bad, and this is how it's
Oh
done.
yeah. Now Shaul just mentioned that if you do Seikif Kafufim before, then you can't do Mater Asurim anymore. But besides that, any order is okay. No, it might be also if you do Shalei Asani Ishi, you might not be able to do Shalei Asani Abed or Asani Guy. Yeah, it says that. Okay, thank you. I appreciate the corrections people made. Dr. Fine, thank you. So anyhow, we
Those are
have
the only two that make a difference.
What?
Meaning those are the only two that make a difference.
they're
in order.
inclusive. Since really you could do any orders. Less if you do one which includes the other, then you include it and you lose that. But
What's the deal that I say relation is Shiva San Isha? Why can't I say Shiva San Yada?
We're going in the order of
mitzvahs.
meaning it'd be better to be a Jewish slave than it would to be a goy. It'd be better to be a woman than it would to be a Jewish male slave, and it's better to be a man than it would to be a Jewish.
I thought I'll just add on to what he's saying, Shaul.
Sure.
That the idea of how many mitzvahs you have. So a guy has no mitzvahs. Evan has partial mitzvahs. Okay, sorry, take it back. A guy has 7 mitzvahs. Evan has mitzvahs as a woman, and Isha has
the mitzvah, but she's not nevet. But she's not nevet.
Right. So that's why. That's the order. That's why I'm. That's why I think. Like, again, everything I'm saying.
Woman has 3 mitzvahs, no?
What?
She has all the non-time mitzvahs she's had. Yeah.
Okay, so that was that.
And what about why not Shia Salik Kosarki? That doesn't. I guess that's just referring to.
And that's my. I have a general question. You bring up a question I have for a long time. Why we say such an amazing bracha on shoes? Why don't we just say thanks Hashem for giving me shoes? Sha'asali called Sarki on shoes.
You walked around without shoes.
At the
I mean, I've did a lot of things in my.
I think at the time shoes were relatively new.
Yeah, but what? So that's what it's saying. Justly called Sarki. Like that's like the. That does the job.
I think I remember hearing that was one of the biggest innovations in battle. It was
yeah, but not everyone's war. You're a professional fighter, but average person.
For the average person, maybe they became more readily available around this time. It was like sliced bread.
I don't know how to restart. So I don't. So I hear what he's saying. To me, it's very interesting. No, I hear. To me, it's interesting. The
people listening, they can continue to listen.
Yeah, they